Okay, cool. All right, we're good.
But yeah, this is something that I kind of wanted to add to the um, kind of the whole SOP, I guess you could call it.
Mhm.
Uh, the kind of the pre-call foundations. I made a doc the other day that kind of just goes over, or I say made, but I more of borrowed somebody else. If you've ever heard of, you know who Charlie Morgan is by chance?
Mm-mm.
Okay, well, this guy, he has built a massive, massive agency, and he sells, marketing and all types of thing, high ticket clients type of guy. Um, and he has a very interesting sales process, but which a lot of his things, I mean, don't apply, but you can take a lot of info from his whole process. So one thing that I definitely wanted to go over was just kind of the pre-call foundations, because in this specific type of sales, can you see my screen?
You're just sharing Discord itself.
Sure. This says entire screen, so should be good. Okay, you see this? It says pre-call foundations.
Yep.
Okay, cool, cool. All right. This is something that I wanted to go over before we even get into the intro and everything, because with this specific type of sales, where you're going to be doing, 50, 70, 100, maybe 150, 200 calls a day, you can get very desensitized to the fact that you are talking to a human. Obviously, these people, you know, um, sales is basically the monetization of charisma. You guys, you're going to have to be able to talk one-on-one, build rapport with these people. If they don't like you, they're not going to buy from you. It is that simple. So with that being said, like, yes, you're going to be talking to people from all different walks of life. This isn't Not every single call you're going to get on is a business owner that's in his 50s and he's extremely competent and he knows exactly what you're talking about it. He's caught up to speed. He's already done his research on insurance. Some of these people are going to be coming into these calls completely blind. They don't know anything, and you're just going to have to take each call at face value before you even get started. So
Mhm.
before you can get on your first call of the day, at least when I used to dial nonstop, taking that first 20, 30 minutes and mentally preparing yourself is vitally important. I mean, you can't just jump on here and expect to close deals. Working 3 hours, I mean, you could have the exact same, two carbon copies of two people. One person half-asses it and works 8 hours a day. One person really gives his all and works 3 hours a day. The guy who works 3 hours is going to make 10 times more money. It really is that simple. There have been days that, I mean, I've been the exact same person, have got on Monday and gave everything my full all and was fully focused into every single sales call. And I've closed, 3 deals. Second day, I worked double the hours and just kind of breezing through it, not even, just seeing what I can get on the phones. And you don't close anything. So
Mhm.
anyway, with all this being said, um, first thing that I had written down here was releasing the bias to the close. Now, like I was mentioning a second ago, these people are going to be coming from all walks of life. You are going to get people who have maybe millions of dollars, $1 million net worth. They've been retired for 20 years. They exited their family-owned business. They're super competent. And you're going to have people who are living paycheck to paycheck on Social Security in the middle of the boonies in South Alabama. There's a wide range of people. This is not one specific type of client that you're going to be talking to. But with that being said, you don't want to just go ahead and assume, oh, this person sounds way too, ignorant. They don't know what I'm talking about. This is this is pointless. I promise you, approaching every single one of these calls with the mindset that this is a close, I just have to figure out how to make it close,
Mhm.
will make you so much more money. Now, when you're talking to these people, a really good analogy that I got from this guy Charlie Morgan that I was mentioning earlier is that you want to think of yourself as a doctor. If you were a whichever type of doctor. Let's say you have a client come into your office and he says, "Oh, my stomach hurts," and you just say, "Oh, well, you need X, Y, and Z prescription." They would be like, "What are you talking about? You don't even know." I didn't give you any context. That's why you don't know if I got in a car wreck. You don't know if I ate bad chicken. You don't know. There's no way of you actually telling as to why I am stepping into your office right now, versus your line of questioning going down and say, okay, here's your financial situation. Here's maybe your daughter's in college. Maybe you have a mortgage that you need to get covered. Your line of questioning will really release exactly why these people came to you, or even thought of insurance in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So that's extremely important by itself. Um, let's see here. Yeah, this kind of goes through along the same lines as I was talking about before. Really diving deep into the questions. All of these people are going to be very different backgrounds. Um, Dude, I'm just kind of rambling right now. Hang on.
You're good.
um, thinking of yourself as a doctor, or as trying to fish out exactly why they got into, or why they looked into insurance in the first place, is going to be uh, arguably the most critical part of this whole sales process. Just throwing stuff at the wall and hoping that it sticks is a bad habit to get into. A lot of the agents, this is where you can kind of tell who's a natural salesman and who's not. And you'll learn this very on whenever you get onto the dialer. The people who are a natural salesman are extremely good at digging into the fundamental questions as to why they were getting into it. Um, let's let me let me back up here just a second. I just kind of had zero preparations.
No, I
I'm
know.
just
So
gonna
that's why we're doing this, right? I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not gonna be posting this video anywhere. This is just for me to
Mhm.
rewatch and then create a polished version. So you're good, bro.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let me read over this real quick before I'm just like
yeah.
just
We got all fucking day, so we're good.
all right. Um, okay, okay. Um, so prejudging clients. Um, let's say you get on in the morning. You've been dialing for an hour, 2 hours. You're just dealing with the constant. You're on the hang up hamster wheel. You've got, you know, uh, 3 pages down. You haven't had any calls over 5 minutes. Maybe you got cussed out once or twice. You're. This is something that is extremely important, and I don't care if you're a salesman who's making 40K a month doing this, and I don't care if this is your first time ever seeing the dialer. You're going to get into these mental ruts to where you say, "Oh, it's just not my day. Ah, the leads are bad. The clients suck. Everybody's rude." But when that starts to happen, the best thing that I can recommend is you taking a step back and realizing that everybody's on the same leads. These are the same clients that you've been dealing with. And ultimately, even if you are doing everything right, some days you can just get dealt a bad hand of cards. Not every client's going to get approved. Sometimes people are going to be rude. Maybe you're calling them at a bad time of day. Maybe you met them at maybe they just got into a car wreck last week and they're upset because they don't know how they're going to pay their bills, and this is just somebody else trying to sell them something. When you when you can separate yourself from the call and realize that this is a numbers game at the end of the day, and sometimes it's gonna go in your favor, sometimes it's not. Sometimes you're gonna deal with lay down ideal clients, and sometimes you won't. Um, and you can just remember that you are the only constant in this entire experiment. The only you can truly control is your attitude, um, and your sales process. That's it. So once you get into the rut of the negative thinking, you don't realize how quickly that can kind of spiral you out of control. Something that I used to always do, I like to dial in blocks. So um, my my somewhat, I guess you could call, schedule whenever I used to dial, for months on end, was I would get up at about 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, go get my coffee, get on the dialer. From about 9 o'clock in the morning to, let's say, 11:30 noon, that's personally where I used to feel my burnout. That's where I would start getting, if I wasn't having any big luck, at least in the beginning of the day, that's where I would start feeling my burnout. If I was really applying myself to every single sales call, I gave myself about 3 hours. Now, some people can go a lot longer, some people can go shorter, but you'll definitely start to notice it whenever you get on the dialer. Keeping yourself sharp for every single call. You want to give every single call as much as much chance to close as you possibly can. And you'll realize this when you ever start getting call reviews, either working with your manager or working with me. You'll realize that almost every single day, you can take at least one or two calls. I don't care if you haven't had a close in a week. As long as you are putting in the hours and applying yourself, there's at least one or two calls every single day that could have closed. There's either something you said, something you missed, you took the wrong direction, you handled an objection incorrectly, maybe you sounded kind of just dead on the phones, you didn't have the energy up. There's some mistake that you made every single day that cost you a sale. I don't care if you made 3 sales that day, you still probably missed the fourth one or the fifth one. So keeping that in mind is extremely, extremely important. And this is why we do the call reviews, is that you can get into this mental spiral and this rut and start blaming everything but yourself. But you'll realize once you start hearing yourself back on these calls that like, oh shoot, I did mess up on this one. I took the wrong intro. I sounded dead on the phones. My tonality wasn't right. I wasn't trying to build rapport. I wasn't paying attention to the client. There's a million and one different mistakes that you can make on these calls. And realizing that and just being completely honest with yourself before you even step foot on the dialer is going to help you out a ton. Another thing, and this was one of Charlie Morgan's documents that I have pulled up here. This one doesn't necessarily apply to this form of sales as much, just because insurance, this isn't some massive high ticket business to business sale that you're, having a sit down Zoom call with. This is, more like trying to find the right fit for a client. All of these, because the red pill is all of these people want the coverage. There's nobody that you're going to get on the phone with who doesn't want more money. It's the easiest product in the world to sell. And also, that's a whole nother side note. If you can keep that in mind, that this product is already sold. You just got to figure out how to sell them. I could ask a million people on the street tomorrow, do you want more money? They will all say yes. So just keep that in mind. That was a little side note. But for this in particular, ego in check. I'll be honest, on the sales calls that I've been on, really doesn't apply too much. I'll honestly probably take this out. Every now and then, you are going to have some pretty wild people on the phones that do, that will try to test you and stuff. I'll be honest, if you get into a situation where somebody's cussing you out, getting angry, really trying to fight back and forth with you, by all means, try to take as much advantage of it as you can and try to get a sale. But and honestly, this might even be bad advice. I don't even know if I want to include this in here, but if somebody's getting like really, really ejected on the phones, my usual strategy to that is I'm not going to let this person ruin my day. Next, we have unlimited leads.
Yeah.
Like, make it easy on yourself. There's no reason spending 30 minutes, 45 minutes arguing back and forth with somebody who probably doesn't have the funds and is going to be a pain in the ass client for you. Personally, it's a save you a chargeback. Don't better just not deal with that. But maybe I don't know if that's necessarily the healthiest mindset for a lot of these people to get into, because that can be kind of taken.
It's like probably bad at first just because like they need to get good at objection handling, and then it's good after they get a.
Yeah, I was about to say, by all means, like gauge your clients. But if you're forcing somebody into a sale, specifically this type of sale,
you're gonna charge back, so.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't get into it, but that's not necessarily some info I want to spread to everybody right off the bat, because they can definitely take that and run with it in the wrong direction. And this last point here, so we'll skip over that for now. This is the last point is by far the most important. Like I said whenever we first brought this document up, these people are people, and it's very easy to start gamifying this and being like, oh, more commission, more sales. Oh, I got a hat trick. Cool. Hype me up in the numbers chat, all that stuff. And that's all well and good, but you do have to remember that these people that you are dealing with are human beings. This is somebody's mother. This is somebody's grandmother. This is somebody's dad. It's somebody's uncle. They have their own worries. They have their own bills. And just trying to think sale, you're gonna shoot yourself in the foot. Number one, your persistency is gonna be terrible. Your clients aren't gonna actually like you. They're not gonna remember you. They're not gonna want to deal with you again. They probably won't text you back. They're not gonna answer your phone calls. there has to be a degree of sympathy and empathy that you approach these calls with. When you can actually have a well, I say quote unquote, face to face, heart to heart with somebody, and like I was telling you earlier, actually diagnosing their problems, figuring out exactly why they even looked into insurance in the first place, and genuinely caring about the person, the whole process is going to go so much easier. Nobody likes being sold. I mean, let's be completely honest here. I personally don't like when somebody calls my phone and tries to sell me insurance. It's not fun. I don't like dealing with it, and I can guarantee you they think the exact same way. Unless they're just a complete laydown and just need the coverage immediately, which in and of itself should be a red flag, meaning the health conditions probably aren't that great in the first place. But for anybody else, approaching these clients with genuine compassion and empathy and really trying to figure out a solution for their specific problem is going to be the biggest game changer in this entire process. Apart from just your intro and learning how to deal with quick objections and, you know, tonality and rapport, empathy might be the biggest needle mover in this whole process. Um, so, uh, apart from that, I mean,
Mhm.
I don't know exactly what else to talk about as far as all that goes.
Yeah.
I'll probably remove this part. I know I feel like I was just rambling for the good percentage at the beginning of it.
You're good.
I don't even
I
know if
took
that
good.
made sense,
No, I took a bunch of
but
good notes.
okay. Um, cool, cool. I will get better as I continue talking throughout the day. I was just kind of spilling. All right, let's go to the next part. Intro and needs analysis. So actually, yeah, I put a couple extra notes on this. This is just the script with, oh, the hell. All right, cool. So let me go over this real quick. Uh, all right, so intro. You'll hear me talk a lot about this. Intro is without